In our digital world, pictures are a part of the everyday. I mean, most of us carry around a camera in our pocket at all times, but not all photos are created equally, and some can even find the photographers in deadly situations. From amateur selfie takers who found themselves in tragic situations, to professional combat photographers who died in the line of duty, we've got a difficult one to cover today. Welcome back, Top 10 fam. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. Just a warning that this one's quite dark and sad today, you guys, but it's still important for us to talk about. We are going to be diving into the top 10 terrifying photos that got their photographers destroyed. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Omagh Photo. This photo was taken on August 15th, 1998 in the town of Omagh, which is located in Northern Ireland. Unfortunately, however, aside from this photo looking extremely pleasant, it has a terrible story attached. The red car you see in the photo unfortunately had an explosive device placed in it by a group that called themselves the Real Irish Republican Army, who were a group that opposed the IRA's ceasefire as well as the Good Friday Agreement, which had been signed earlier in 1998. This photograph was taken just before the explosion went off, and while the dad and the daughter that can be seen in the photo thankfully survived, sadly the person who took the photo did not, and it was recovered from their camera in the aftermath of the explosion. This photo is an extremely eerie and haunting reminder of that terrible day. In our number 9 spot today, we have Robert Landsburg. Robert Landsburg was a photographer who was taking pictures of Mount St. Helens when it disastrously erupted on May 18, 1980. Robert had been in the area taking photos for the days leading up to the eruption in order to document the changes the volcano was going through, which is what led to him being there on the day of this fateful eruption. On the day, he was within just a few miles of the volcano when it erupted, and because of his close proximity, he knew he unfortunately would be unable to escape. Instead of focusing on what would be impossible, Robert took to capturing as many photos as he possibly could before he tucked his camera away inside of his bag and placed his body on top of the bag. If he wasn't going to survive, he wanted to make sure that his work did. His body was found 17 days later with his backpack still underneath him. His film was of course developed and has provided geologists with some really valuable insights with his close documentation of the eruption. This is just one example of how brave many photographers really are. In our number 8 spot today, we have Hari Babu. This is a photo from 1991 and is of Rajiv Gandhi, who was the 6th Prime Minister of India. He took office after his mother had been assassinated, and he was the youngest Prime Minister at only 40 years old. This photo was taken by a 21-year-old local photographer named Hari Babu, but little did everyone know, this would be the last photo he took and the last photo ever taken of Rajiv. Moments after this photo was taken, the woman in the bottom left corner with the orange flowers in her hair approached Rajiv, and when she bent down to touch his feet, she detonated a belt of explosives that she had on under her dress. This explosion ended up killing her, Rajiv, Hari Babu, and around 13 other people. Hari Babu's camera ended up staying intact throughout the blast, and this is how they were able to retrieve this photo. In our number 7 spot today, we have Darsh Patel. Darsh Patel was 22 years old and a student at Rutgers when he was hiking in New Jersey with 4 of his friends in 2014. As he was hiking, he encountered a 300-pound bear, which he snapped a series of photos of. Unfortunately, it was this exact bear that later chased and mauled him, which eventually ended up taking his life. The series of images he took of the bear prior to this terrible incident show the bear slowly walking towards the group, with the bear seemingly getting closer with each shot. Once the bear got close enough, the group split into different directions, and when the other 4 met up later, they realized that they couldn't find Darsh, and they called the police. After a 2-hour search, the police found his body with the same bear lingering nearby. The photos of the bear were recovered from his phone that was found near him, with tooth marks from the bear crushed into it. In our number 6 spot today, we have Jia Lijun. A Chinese businessman named Jia tried to take a selfie with a very large walrus that was located at a zoo in China, but it turned out to be an absolutely terrible incident. It is said that this specific walrus was his favorite, as he had visited it on multiple occasions and had taken photos and videos of it prior, which he shared with family and friends. For whatever reason, on this particular day, when he entered the gated housing area to snap a photo with the walrus, when he got close, she grabbed him from behind and dragged him into the pool. From here, both Jia as well as the on-site zookeeper who had cared for this walrus since she was a baby lost their lives in the water. It is said that the walrus just wanted to play a game and give a sort of a hug, and I mean, after all, how would she know that humans humans and water aren't the best combination. Unfortunately, there was also surveillance footage of the event that went viral on social media. In our number 5 spot today, we have Alexander Chechik. Alexander was a man who passed away while taking a photo of himself. He is said to have been taking a photo of himself holding a grenade, which he had pulled the pin out of to take the photos to post. He allegedly tried to put the pin back in, but that obviously failed, and it has since been reported that he had the idea in his head that the grenade wouldn't explode unless he threw it. He had sent the photos of him with the grenade to his friends, so it was clear the entire thing wasn't a planned event, but rather a horrible accident. Some of the texts recovered from his phone show his friends trying to warn him of the danger surrounding the stunt before the terrible outcome occurred. In our number 4 spot today, we have Ramandeep Singh. In 2014, Ramandeep was attempting to take a selfie with a gun when it unexpectedly went off and ended up claiming his life. It is said that he was pointing the gun at himself when he went to click the camera button, but instead set the gun off, which did not have the safety on. This was just a terrible reminder of the increasing percent of selfie-related deaths, with recently released statistics at the time showing that in the 3 years before this incident, India was the home of 19 different situations similar to this one. It is just a reminder to us all that no social media post is worth our safety. In our number 3 spot today, we have Anna Ursu. In 2015, Anna and a friend went to a train station in order to capture a very specific selfie that was intended to be posted to Facebook. The pair wanted the photo to be taken on top of one of the trains, but this sadly resulted in dire consequences. As Anna laid on top of the train and stuck one of her legs in the air, an electrical field surrounding the cables that were overhead ended up sending 27,000 volts of electricity zapping through her body. This caused her to burst into flames, and despite the best efforts of everyone around her, she sadly lost her life. The charge was so powerful that the friend who was there to take the photo was sent flying as it happened. Despite the fact that Anna never actually touched the wires, the electrical field was more than enough for tragedy to strike. In our number 2 spot today, we have Hilda Clayton. Hilda Clayton was a combat photographer whose last image is an exceptionally striking one. Hilda took the photo during a live fire training exercise on July 2nd, 2013 in Afghanistan. During this training, a mortar tube accidentally exploded, and it led to the lives of Hilda along with 4 other Afghan National Army soldiers being taken. Hilda was only 22 years old when this incident took place, and since her passing, it has been said by the Military Review that, quote, Clayton's death symbolizes how female soldiers are increasingly exposed to hazardous situations in training and in combat on par with their male counterparts. The final photo of Hilda's was published 4 years after her passing with the permission of her family, and there's also now a combat photography award that has been named in her honor. In our number 1 spot today, we have Danish Siddiqui. Reuters photojournalist Danish Siddiqui was just 38 years old when he was killed at the start of the Taliban's offensive strike to retake Afghanistan. It is believed that he may have been injured from shrapnel from a rocket while he was covering a fight between Taliban and Afghanistan commandos. From there, it is believed that he was left behind by the retreating Afghan army before he fell into the hands of the Taliban. From here, only the worst ensued, with absolutely horrifying details being released in the news. Danish was a Pulitzer Prize winner and clearly an extremely dedicated and talented professional. His family has said, quote, Danish was not only an outstanding professional, but also a wonderful human being who captured the truth through his lens. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozolowski, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!